Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Spirit of the Golden Empire. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Rising tensions with Iran intensifying overnight as the U.S. says an American drone was shot down in international airspace. How Iran's is responding.
A tense standoff in Sacramento leads to an intense morning as young officer new to the force is shot and killed. We'll have the latest as her fellow officers continue to negotiate with the suspect.
He's been at the helm of the Arvin Police Department for 2 months now. Hear what Chief Scott Kimball's doing to reach out to residents. This is Thursday, June 20th, 2019. Good morning, it's 5 a.m. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher and Kevin Schrett. Is the cool down coming yet?
Hopefully.
Starts today.
Good.
So we should be below 100. That wasn't the case yesterday, so we might as well not waste any time and show you our high for Wednesday because it was cooking out there. Here it is, 103 degrees, and our record yesterday was 109. So we didn't get to the record of 109 set back in 2017, but it was definitely hot out there. Right now, we're at 74 degrees, so we're even cooler than where we were yesterday. Remember, we were right around 79, 80 degrees. We have a light wind out of the north at 8 right now. We're looking at the mid-70s to start throughout the afternoon. By 3 o'clock, we'll be right near 94. For the mountains, 64 degrees right now. A west-northwest wind at 9. And as we take a look at the day, starting out in the mid-60s, 78 at noon. And by 3 o'clock, you should be right near 80. We're also going to see those winds pick up with a wind advisory in place. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
It's 5:01 now. We begin with breaking news overnight in the Middle East. A U.S. official says a U.S. drone was shot down by Iran in international airspace above the Strait of Hormuz early this morning. U.S. officials are calling the attack unprovoked. This report contradicts a claim by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard saying it shot down the aircraft after it entered the country's airspace. The report of the downed drone comes amid rising tensions in the region. Coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll dive deeper into discussions about those tensions, which are centered around an attack on oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman last week.
5:02 now. We're also following breaking news out of our state's capital. After nearly 12 hours, a deadly standoff in Sacramento continues this morning. 17's Vanessa Dillon is tracking it all from our newsroom this morning and joins us with details. Vanessa?
That's right, Alex. Yet another officer-involved shooting has ended tragically this morning. A Sacramento police officer responding to a domestic call was shot and killed by the suspect involved. This happened all late yesterday afternoon. Officers responded to a domestic disturbance call at a home. During that call, a man with a rifle shot and killed 26-year-old Officer Tara O'Sullivan. He then barricaded himself inside the home, firing at officers several times as they tried to reach O'Sullivan, who just laid outside the home. It took officers more than 45 minutes to get to her and get her to the hospital. Her colleagues gathered outside UC Davis Medical Center yesterday evening, visibly upset as they awaited news while O'Sullivan was in surgery. At a news conference early this morning, Deputy Police Chief Dave Paletta announced O'Sullivan died. Her colleagues are remembering her as a dedicated officer and role model, their city's mayor grieving alongside them.
As a father of a 25-year-old daughter, I grieve with you. As mayor of the city Tara was sworn to protect, we are heartbroken and we are here for all of you.
O'Sullivan graduated from the police academy just in December. She was about to wrap up her training and was about to begin patrolling on her own in a few weeks. As for the suspected gunman, police are still on the scene at the home where officers working to negotiate his surrender. Police have evacuated people living nearby. They're staying in a shelter set up at a nearby school. In the newsroom, Vanessa Dillon, 17 News. Maddie, Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks, Vanessa. 5:04 now, and here at home, Bakersfield police have cleared senior officer Alejandro Patino in an officer-involved shooting that happened last August. Officers shot and killed Christopher Okamoto while responding to a domestic violence call on Hahn Avenue near New Stein and Wilson Roads. Police say Okamoto had an Umarex H&K BB slash-pellet pistol with design features identical to a semi-automatic firearm. Officer Patino is an 11-year veteran of the department, but this was the first time he'd fired his weapon on the job. The Critical Incident Review Board determined the shots fired were within department policy and legal requirements. Chief Lyle Martin agrees with the findings. Officer Patino has returned to full duty.
This morning, the trial is set to begin in the case against the Taft Union High School District, 6 years after a student opened fire in a classroom. The family of Bo Cleveland suing the district. Back in January of 2013, he was shot by Brian Oliver at Taft High School. Cleveland was badly hurt in the shooting. His family's attorney says there was enough evidence to know what Oliver was planning.
Several people are without a place to stay this morning after flames ripped through their South Bakersfield apartment building. The fire broke out just after 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon in an apartment complex on South M Street near Wilson Road. It took firefighters about 20 minutes to knock down those flames. They say they saved 10 apartments, but flames badly burned 4 others. No one was hurt. Right now, there's no word on what sparked the blaze.
Backlash against President Trump's plan to deport undocumented immigrants continues to grow. Now, state leaders are pushing back. On Monday, President Trump warned next week Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, will start to round up and deport millions of undocumented immigrants. California Democrats call the threat troubling, and Governor Gavin Newsom's promising the state will protect its undocumented citizens and make sure they know their rights.
No abras la puerta. And without a warrant, you don't have to open the door. Without a warrant, you do not have to open the door. You have the right to due process.
We have parents who are scared to walk their kids to school. We have parents who are scared to go to work. This is something that we need to address as a community, and we don't need his rhetoric to continue to interfere with our ability to operate in California.
Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice is sharing her thoughts about the Trump administration's deportation plan. She sat down with today's Chanel Jones. Here's a snippet of what she had to say.
Monday, President Trump tweeted that ICE would soon be deporting millions of undocumented immigrants. The issue of immigration has obviously been building for a long time, but does the president's new threat bother you?
Well, I don't think we're the kind of country that's going to deport millions of people. I just don't think we're going to do it. And I'm not sure we have the means, and I don't think we have the heart.
You can watch Chanel Jones' full interview with Condoleezza on the 3rd hour of today. That airs right here on KGET at 9 a.m. today. Meantime, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco is set to hear arguments today on whether to grant an emergency order to allow construction to begin on the border wall. Trump administration officials are requesting the court pause a lower court's order that blocks the administration from using military funding for the wall.
The new police chief for the city of Arvin wants the community to get to know him and his officers. Chief Scott Kimball held a town hall meeting last night. He's been at the helm of the Arvin Police Department for just over 2 months. Before that, he served as the chief in McFarland. Kimball wants to make sure people living in Arvin know who's protecting them and that the department needs their help to keep them safe.
Plus, you mentioned, in the past at McFarland, we had great results there, which means you can have great results in every city when you work together with the community. I try to embody the same things that I want them to be doing. So when they see it from me, who is their chief.
Kimball also says although the department's short-staffed, officers are working hard to take time on their shifts to build a relationship with the community.
5:08 now, and another big shakeup at the Bakersfield, California, and 17 News has learned at least 6 employees of the newspaper will be laid off, including some who have been there for decades. Sources familiar with the matter say those employees were given notice yesterday. The layoffs include people who work in copy editing, graphic design, and sales, as well as the paper's vice president and executive editor. The layoffs come several weeks after the paper was bought, ending 122 years of family ownership. You can read more about the reported layoffs and what lies ahead for the paper on our website, kget.com.
Welcome back here at 518. It's an alarming trend. A new study reveals the rate of young adults and teens dying by suicide has reached an all-time high. The numbers are concerning even for Kern County. 17th Amber Frias spoke with a mother who lost her son to suicide and shares her message to other parents.
It's okay to be a helicopter parent. Even though the kids get mad, but be interested in what they're doing. Talk to them, listen to them without interruptions. Let them speak to you and gain that, trust and communication.
Estella Vega lost her 19-year-old son, Jacob, to suicide 12 years ago.
He was an awesome kid. I miss him a lot.
Vega says she recalls he had started acting different a year before his death.
He alienated himself. I don't know if he was angry or what the deal was.
We spoke with therapist Jessica Bursleff about signs to look out for.
A child who maybe was very outgoing at one point, suddenly being very isolated, irritable, angry, anything like that. Again, any upticks in substance use or abuse, that kind of, all of those things would be warning signs to parents to have a conversation.
Something Vega says she didn't know she should have been looking for at the time.
My son, now that I think about it, he spent a lot of time, in his room reading. And, there's a lot of times that he'd stay up all night and then sleep in the day, and I didn't think anything of it until now.
Experts say talking about the subject is crucial, especially when a teen presents signs.
We need to really sit down and talk to them. What's going on with you? And ask about suicide.
New research by the Journal of American Medical Association shows in 2017, suicide claimed the lives of over 6,000 young adults in the country, the second leading death for people in that age group. An even more noticeable spike was seen in suicides for young adult males. 5,016 males between 15 and 24 lost their lives to suicide that year. 1,225 female deaths were also recorded. Kern County has also seen a consistent rise in deaths by suicide, according to data from the California Department of Public Health. And the spike in suicides among teen boys was also obvious in Kern.
There is a 20% rise in 15 to 19-year-old males.
That's according to data for 2017, says Ellen Eggert with Kern Behavioral Health.
Life is hard. Our kids need a mentor. They need someone to check up on them, to be there for them.
Amber Frias, 17 News.
If you or someone you know needs to talk to someone about suicide, you can call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255.
Just before 5:22, a Bakersfield hospital is getting national recognition. Later today, the American Heart and Stroke Association is presenting Memorial Hospital with 3 awards. They're for the hospital's ongoing commitment to caring for heart attack and stroke patients here in our community. The hospital implemented specific measures that improve the quality of treatment and recovery for those who've suffered a stroke or heart attack.
We're back here at 524. A Fresno company specializing in computer technology scored a big investment and plans to use it to make Bakersfield more tech savvy. Bakersfield Mayor Karen Goh says Bitwise Industries is expanding from its location in Fresno. On its website, Bitwise says its goal is to create opportunities in cities that aren't usually known for the tech industry. The company says it has raised $27 million for new ventures. That includes the Bakersfield expansion. Goh says the project comes as Bakersfield works to innovate and grow. Apple and Best Buy are teaming up to make it easier for consumers to get their Apple products serviced and repaired. More than 7,000 Geek Squad employees are ready to offer expert repairs and service for Apple devices at Best Buy stores nationwide. Every repair is backed by Apple, and only genuine Apple parts are used for repairs without breaking Apple's warranty. Customers won't pay more for repairs at Best Buy than any other authorized service provider, but prices may vary depending on model and type of repair needed.